Assalamu alaikum. Yaxshimsizlar. My name is Jewher Ilham. I am Uyghur. How many of you all have heard of the Uyghurs? Please raise your hands. Okay, pretty good, pretty good. How many of you all have heard about the Uyghurs before 2018? Okay, I see some, number declined. I assume many of you all who have heard about the Uyghurs were because of the news articles or reports that were issued about the persecution of the Uyghur population in China by the Chinese government. It is not the exact way the Uyghur people would want to be introduced to the world, to be honest. Persecution, genocide, crimes against humanity. No, we have more to that. For those of you who are not very familiar with who the Uyghurs are, well, first of all, Uyghur people are Turkic Muslim groups. We speak the Uyghur language, which is a Turkic language that is unrelated to Mandarin Chinese or Cantonese. We look different. We dress differently. We have beautiful traditional fabrics that we wear day to day. We call it the Atlas fabric, which oftentimes made with silk. We wear the traditional doppa, which is a hat that's woven by Uyghur artists. We have beautiful music, handcrafts, instruments, dance choreographies, poetry, choreographies. And most importantly, Uyghur people are one of the most generous, kindest, and honest people you'll ever meet. Not bragging. Uyghur people are majority of the Uyghur people are Muslims, are practicing Muslims. We are from the Uyghur region. The Chinese government likes to call the Uyghur homeland Xinxiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. The word Xinjiang means new territory in Chinese. That gives out some information for you, right? You might not be so familiar with who the Uyghurs are or have met any Uyghur before meeting me today. But I am certain right here in this building or in a building just like this one, there are a number of products have been touched by the hands of the Uyghur people who have been working in conditions that strongly indicate forced labor from massive multinational corporations. Whether it's the floorings or the cameras over here or the outfits, for example, that gray shirt over there or that right blouse over there or maybe the jeans over there or maybe the wigs that you're wearing or maybe the cars that are parked outside from Tesla or Volkswagen that were purchased in the last 5 years. Just to be clear, I'm not here to make you feel bad about the Zara or Hugo Boss shirt that you put on this morning, or for the wigs that you're wearing might be most likely from the shaved heads of my Uyghur brothers and sisters who are locked up in a prison or a re-education center, or the cars that you drove to work today. What I'm here to say is that we can work together. We can all work together to push changes. We can all work together to make the corporations and governments to make changes and stop their complicity in Uyghur forced labor. Researchers have linked Uyghur forced labor to over 17 industries, probably even more. Whether we're talking about beauty, garment, tech, food, green energy. Surprising, right? Green energy is supposed to be sustainable. Guess what? The Uyghur region produces over 35% of the global polysilicon. Polysilicon, which is a key material to produce solar panels. And 95% of the solar panels relies on the polysilicon, and 35% of the global polysilicon is produced in the Uyghur region. 10% of the global aluminum is sourced from the Uyghur region, which is a key material to make cars. 10% of the PVC, which is key materials to build those floors, those roofs, and those walls. And 85% of the cotton production of China is sourced from the Uyghur region, which marks to 22% of the global cotton output. For decades, the Chinese government has been implementing repressive policies in my homeland, locking up millions of people. Besides forced labor, which intersects with egregious human rights abuses, which includes destruction of centuries-old cultural landmarks, family separation, mass detention, gender-based sexual harassments, forced sterilization. The birth rate of the Uyghur region dropped nearly 24% in a single year. And now, the Uyghur population growth is growing negatively. Why? The Chinese, all with the intention of erasing Uyghur identity, erasing everything, unique thing about why we're the Uyghurs. And many of you might ask, okay, why targeting the Uyghurs? I often get asked that. Why Uyghurs? Why not other people? Well, the truth is other people are being targeted as well. Whether we're talking about the Uyghurs, the Kazakhs, the Kyrgyz, who are also living in the Uyghur region, but also Chinese Christians, Tibetan Buddhists, Mongolians, human rights lawyers in China. They're all targeted. What do they share in common? They share differences. The Chinese government do not like differences because when you are different, it's very difficult for you to be controlled. And there are many reasons why the Chinese government has a huge focus on the Uyghur region. One of the key reasons is, besides the religious part, the Chinese government does not like religion at all. Besides the religion, the key reason why the Uyghur region is targeted is, I really think it lies into the geopolitics. As I mentioned earlier, the Uyghur region is key to many resources, but also natural resources. The Uyghur region is known for its gold, gas, uranium, and coal, which marks up to 20% of China's total energy reserves, making it an entire natural powerhouse for China. The Uyghur region is also critical to the success of Belt and Road Initiative. Sounds familiar, right? The Chinese government connects the Uyghur region to over 100 countries around the world via gas pipelines, shipping lanes, and other infrastructure projects. The Uyghur region also helps the Chinese government solve its overcrowdedness and overpopulation problems. The Uyghur region, I don't have a map here, but hopefully you will Google it. The Uyghur region is 1/6 of China's mass land, but only have less than 20 million of the Uyghur population. And that is a perfect location for Chinese government to solve its overcrowdedness issue. And also because of the one-child policies and with the culture of favoring sons over daughters, resulting in China having overpopulation of male bachelors and not having enough young female that can be ready to produce the next generation of the babies for them. The Chinese government advertised in the Uyghur region to call on Chinese bachelors to move and migrate to the Uyghur region to solve its next generational population production problems. So yeah, one stone, five birds over there. The Chinese government not only lock up millions, put people under detention facilities, but also the Chinese government operates an entire police state in the Uyghur region. Every few blocks, I wish I have the photos right here, but every few blocks, you will see checkpoints, cameras. Oh, each block will have a dozen cameras, trust me. Every few blocks, you will see Chinese police sitting at a desk, requesting you to deposit your phones. My cousin was actually stopped at one of those checkpoints, asked to deposit her phone and to be requested to install Chinese surveillance tools in her cell phone. She refused. They confiscated her phone anyways and found a photo and an article of my father and sentenced her to 10 years for that, for non-compliance. Why? Why having a photo of my father is a crime? I'd like to share a little bit about my father. My father, Ilham, who's an economist at Beijing University, at Beijing's Minzu University since the 90s. Though he was an economist by training, he was best known for his outspoken advocacy work on promoting peaceful coexistence between the Han Chinese and the Uyghur population, and for advocating for equal rights for the Uyghur people. For decades, he shared his articles, research findings, talked to journalists, talked to government officials around the world, just tried to help improve the conditions of the Uyghur people. But for that, he was sentenced to life in prison. Since 2013, I have not seen my father. Since 2017, I have not heard a word of my father. In fact, I don't even know if he is alive. What I know was that when he was arrested, he was shackled, beaten, denied food twice, each time for 10 days. Within the first few months of detention, he lost more than 40 pounds. No family visits have been allowed. And my father has been a man like my father, who the Chinese government claims as a separatist, extremist, and someone who advocates for violence. He has done nothing that the Chinese government described. All he wanted to do was to fix the problems and find solutions. The Chinese government does not want to find a solution. The Chinese government wants to gain full control. And that is why the Chinese government have operated the state-sponsored forced labor policies in the Uyghur region in the name of poverty alleviation. For people who are interested, you can check out my father's book, who wrote about the real poverty alleviation. For Uyghurs, not knowing the whereabouts of our family members, not able to call them, not able to go home, not able to practice our religion freely has become a norm. I hope one day Uyghur sons and daughters like me can be reunited with their family members, can go home freely, can call their mothers, call their fathers without worrying about putting them at risk, can go home without worrying about being detained, can practice our religion freely, can speak our language freely, can celebrate our culture freely. And I hope that day comes soon. And you can help make that happen. How? That's the key question. Here's the call to action part. How can every individual of us be involved? The truth is, no matter our differences, everyone who is here, whether you're listening or not, we share two things in common. First, we're all human beings. Second, we're all consumers. And that means consumers have a voice. We have a voice that we can influence changes. We hold powers. Call on your government officials. It doesn't matter which country you are from, which office you're from, which culture background you're from, which ethnicity you are from. Call on your government officials. Call on your local churches, synagogues, mosques. Tell your family members what's happening to the Uyghur region, because one person, every 11 person can connect to the other random person from the other side of the world, right? You never know who your message will be sent to, and who will be able to be that key trigger to trigger a change. You can write to your companies that you shop from the most. It is not my fault that I want to shop here, but it is your responsibilities, companies, that you need to be better. You need to do due diligence of your supply chains, down to the raw materials. Where are you sourcing? Who is making your clothes? If an item, it is so cheap, that is $3. If we are not paying from our wallets, somebody's paying for it. The workers that are paying for it with their blood, sweats, and tears. Please help me to achieve for my dream. My dream is to become a normal human being. Have a simple meal cooked by my mother, sit down with my father, with my brothers and sisters whom I haven't seen for over 10 years. You can help make that happen. You can help make the conditions of Uyghur forced worker to return to their normal lives, so they no longer have to work in factories for hours and hours. You can help make that happen. Thank you.